The sophomore Miley Wachenio asked to bookend the starts here in this super regional for Oklahoma. She started game one, didn't have her best stuff, but now the sophomore comes back in an all-important winner-take-all game three. And they're hopeful that Miley Wachenio will match up well against this Mississippi State Bulldog team.
You can see what she does. A lot of mix east to west with rise and screw. And talking to Coach Gasso coming into this weekend, they really thought Miley was the best matchup against Mississippi State. And admittedly, maybe not her best stuff in game one. Gave up 3 walks, a double, a home run. She's going to get the call here in a very important game three.
As we are underway for game three of this super regional round, as we take a look at the Capital One starting lineup for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and Nadia Barbary on deck, one of the seniors on this team, 6 of 17 throughout the NCAA tournament. And she's hopeful that her team can come up with timely hits, as you mentioned, Aaron, to try to notch some runs and potentially a win here against OU. A tall task indeed, as Morgan Stiles receives the 1-1 pitch, sends it in to center field, and Agbayane from her second base position goes out to get it, and out number 1. Well, one of the areas that we saw in game 1 Friday that Patty Gasso was hopeful that would tighten up is the defense, right? 4 errors, a season high, uncharacteristic for this Sooner group. They're needing a stronger effort with Wachenio back in the circle again.
These are 2 of the best defensive teams in the nation. Mississippi State second, they lead with 984 fielding percentage, and Oklahoma just behind them with a 981.
Here's Barbary, the senior out of Douglasville, Georgia, 2-time second-team All-SEC selection. She's gone 3 of 7 this weekend for the Bulldogs. Chasing upstairs.
See a big cut. I mean, that is a home run style swing right there. Saw a massive jump in home run numbers from that sophomore season, junior season, senior season. I mean, she has doubled her home run power just in the last 2 years.
1-2 to the Bulldogs. Offensive leader stays off of that one. Now count even with 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Freshman and sophomore year, 4 home runs apiece. Last tallied 11, and this year 14 home runs in her senior campaign.
That inside for ball 3, as a very alive and awakened OU fan base here at Loves Field.
This fan base has been alive and awakened all weekend.
And a walk, the 1-out walk to Nadia Barbary. We welcome you into Loves Field in Norman, Oklahoma. Aaron Miller-Tisa and Tiffany Green here with you. A winner-take-all game 3 between Mississippi State and Oklahoma. Bulldogs, top half of the inning, seeking their first ever Women's College World Series appearance. Nadia Barbary with a 1-out walk, standing at first base as one of the 7 seniors on this team, and a Bulldog through and through. They were able to notch a win Friday in game 1 for their first ever in program history under head coach Samantha Ricketts.
There's so much to unpack too with this matchup, not just statistically what these 2 teams bring to the table, but the personal connections between head coach Patty Gasso and head coach Samantha Ricketts.
The 1-1 to Zion Romero. The second baseman takes that one high. To your point, Samantha Ricketts played here for Patty Gasso. Was an outstanding player from 2006 to 2009, a two-time All-American for the Hall of Fame coach, who has notched all 8 national championships. Now, sister Kaylani also played here as well, was able to win one in 2013, your freshman year partner. However, Sam Ricketts trying to become the last Ricketts to make it to OKC.
And a massive Game 1 win, too, for Coach Ricketts. The first ever player turned head coach to beat head coach Patty Gasso. First ever super regional win here for Mississippi State.
The 2-2 to Romero. Sends this one into right field, giving chases Ella Parker. She had a beat on it. Holding up a little bit was Nadia Barbary, but she trots into third in a stand-up double for Zion Romero. The 6th two-bagger of the season for Romero.
This is off the end of the bat. Kind of a deceptive hit with the contact of Romero. You can see Parker trying to give chase to this, but fading over her head in right field. Nice contact, hitting behind runners for Romero in the 3-hole, and you can see Barbary just trying to put on the horse. She had to read that ball down.
First pitch swinging from Kinley Keller, and Keller drives home the first run of the game for the Bulldogs, and another one comes in to score. A 2-run single for Kinley Keller. The freshman in the biggest game of her career, delivering a big one-out base hit to score 2.
This is big time. This is a big time at bat, a big time swing. You can see a drop ball working low and away from Keller in the 4-hole. And this is what Mississippi State has done all weekend long. Fundamental hitting, gap-to-gap shots. They have applied pressure to this pitching staff all weekend long. And I got to tell you, Tiffany, having a chance to check in with the dugout, you can see them here. They are loose. They are free, and I heard it from head coach Sam Ricketts herself. This is the most fun, laid-back, ready-to-rock team that she has seen all season long, and it's coming at the most important time of their season.
Well, we saw the way that they stayed on the attack. They didn't feel like they had any pressure on them coming into today's game. It's Oklahoma that's the national seed. Oklahoma with all of the championships to their name. So they just came out as loose and free as they wanted to be. And Samantha Ricketts feels very confident with this group. Both teams out of the Southeastern Conference, they did not meet during the regular season, but this group has just put together timely wins, timely hits. Everything has just been timely for State throughout their run. Morgan Bernardini now at the plate, and you think about it, they go through regionals in Eugene. They knock off a national seed in Oregon. They're going 3-0. Just their second ever super regional appearance.
Keep in mind, too, this is a Mississippi State squad that's got 12 newcomers. 6 of them are transfers. 6 of them coming in as newbies, and that one, Kinley Keller, she's a freshman in that 4-hole, coming up big with the single, the 2 RBIs.
Morgan Bernardini, who is 3 of 4 this weekend. She's led the team throughout the NCAA tournament in terms of batting average. And a player who has just morphed into a greater role this season and has embraced every moment. The 3-0 pitch. In for strike 1.
The senior leadership on this team as well. You talk about loyalty. I think that's been a very consistent theme with a lot of the seniors and the leaders of this squad. 4 years here at Mississippi State and earned her stripes. I mean, really, truly earned her opportunities. Had no starts in her first 2 seasons, and the last season in her junior year. I mean, she had a breakout year. Came in a pinch hit opportunity in game 1, earned the starts in the last 2 games here of Supers.
And now a full count to Bernardini. And pops up, coming to give chase is Emmerling from first base. Keller retreats to first, and 2 down. And noticing early on of what you've seen from Miley Wachenio, what is it that the Bulldogs see coming out of her hand? I mean, we talked about the scouting report for her. There appears to be a discrepancy on the field. We're seeing home plate umpire Willie Lopez have a conversation with Patty Gasso. And they're going to say Keller is out at first base. Did she leave too soon from the bag?
I'm going to take a look at this. I wonder if there was maybe contact with Emmerling off the base, or potentially leaving early.
That would be the 3rd out of the inning, or second out of the inning, as
it would bring Bernardini back to the plate.
Back,
yeah.
Yep.
It would be treated as a full count. It's like we're going to hear from second base umpire Mike Burwell.
After the play, the ruling on the field is that the runner from first base left early. So that runner is declared out by the option of Oklahoma. The batter will return with a 3-2 count.
We're going to get a look at it here. So this is Kinley Keller at first base. Very much early. You can see immediately the call from first base umpire Kaylee Young. Arm goes out. So that's bringing Bernardini back to the plate.
But now no runners aboard and 2 outs as Bernardini fouls it back.
I want to go back to your question, though, about Wachenio, about just what Mississippi State is seeing out of her hand. I think really this comes down to a game plan. We saw yesterday them getting caught late in counts, not aggressive early, and seeing a little bit of swings outside the strike zone. They've managed the strike zone much better here early in this game.
Popped up, calling for it is Sydney Parker at third base, and that ends the inning, but not before a couple of runs put up here by Mississippi State to start off this game 3 of Super Regional. Kendall Wells, one of the biggest bats in all of college softball, had a multi-home run game Friday to raise her total to 39 home runs on the season, just one shy of tying Megan Grant from UCLA, who set the NCAA record, a phenomenal freshman. We will get an opportunity to see her 3rd in the lineup as we take a look at the Sooner starting lineup, brought to you by Capital One. A freshman phenom in Kendall Wells, but the protection that she has all throughout the lineup only helps to highlight her even more.
How about this? All 4 freshman position players at Oklahoma have 11 home runs at least. I mean, just a nuts, powerful squad.
And in the circle, they will face off against Delaney Everett, the winner of Game 1, the junior out of Oakdale, California, making her first start of the season.
.70 miles an hour out of this lefty, working across the zone and up in the letters there. Really aggressive, white to white. Loved the way she came in Game 1, slammed the door shut. She got the last 4 outs against Oklahoma, and specifically talking about Kendall Wells, Tiffany. 2 on with Kendall Wells up to bat, I think a lot of people would have assumed that there would have been an intentional walk there. Well, Everett had other plans. Got her to pop up.
And getting Kai Minor to strike out right here to start off the game. She just brings a type of moxie in the circle that we heard from Taryn McKitty after the game.
When I saw this name in the starting lineup, I got chills. There is just something special about Delaney Everett in the circle for Mississippi State. What this young woman has been through, what she has had to overcome for these opportunities. I mean, that's what this game's all about.
Coming in just 12 innings pitched this season. She's had to battle through injuries, including a shoulder injury. More recently had surgery, joined the staff midway through the season this year. And now her biggest start of her career as she gets Ella Parker to foul that one off. Junior, who's come up with the hit so far this weekend, a first team all SEC selection. And that one smacked into center field over the head of Tatum Silva, who misplayed to the throw to second base, and it's in time. Parker was going for more, and Silva with a bullet to second to throw her out. How many wonderful defensive plays have we seen from Mississippi State? And you said it earlier, the best in the nation in fielding.
984 in fielding percentage. I mean, Mississippi State is so good on the dirt. This is exactly why. A ball clearly over the head of Tatum Silva in center field. She immediately plays this off the wall and a bullet to Romero at second base. Look at the reacts. I mean, this is a squad, again, the communication, the high IQ decision-making defensively for Mississippi State is why they're second in the nation.
And now here's Kendall Wells, who we talked about. Wells, who has just been a tremendous watch this season. If you've ever gotten a chance to tune in to watch #1 in Crimson, where she has been entertaining with those home run bombs, but also a great defensive player as well behind the plate. First pitch swing in the backhander, and it's called foul.
There is an athleticism about Kendall Wells. I still really haven't had the chance to put a correct word on it, the correct adjective to describe the athlete that we are witnessing in this freshman.
Out of Bogart, Georgia, Kendall Wells, who leads the Sooners this weekend with hits. 2 of her 5 hits left the park, along with 7 ribbies as well. USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year, top 10 finalist, National Freshman of the Year, top 3 finalists this time once more. Nadia Barbary handles it, and the 5-3 put in a 1-2-3 inning for Delaney Everett. A 9-pitch inning for Everett as we move to the second. Repeat the most recent a part of their 8 total national championships, but Aaron, you and I called game 1 Friday, and OU has not won a super regional after losing game 1. You go back to when it first happened against Arizona in 2005, and then 07 against DePaul, being swept. And the last time they were in this situation was 2008 against Arizona.
And that's after losing game 1. You look at those years. I mean, you got to go way back in the scorebooks. 2, also the last time they've played in a game 3 of a super, not losing game 1, but playing in a game 3 was in 2014 against Tennessee.
I was back at the old Marita Hines field. Now the new digs here at Love's. Using with everything that you look for in the softball stadium, as Paige Ernstez lines out to Gabby Garcia at short and 1 down. So after giving up a couple of runs in that first inning, Miley Huachenyo needs to settle in and do what?
It's just attacking early. This is something we saw that Lowry did well yesterday in her start in game 2, 87 pitches thrown. She hammered that very first pitch. That one very close on the outer half. It's a tighter zone this weekend, I think, especially on those corners early. But those are some categories that this OU pitching staff tracks. It's that first pitch of an at-bat. Can they get ahead? Then they track the third pitch, that conversion count. So right here, a 1-1 count. This very next pitch, an important pitch for the Oklahoma pitching staff. What can you do in order to turn this ship back into the favor of the arm in the circle? I mean, it's a big difference between a 1-2 and a 2-1 as a hitter. And so now you're in control. You've got a pitcher's count, a 1-2 count. It opens up pitch location, right? You saw associate head coach Jen Rocha in the mouth of that dugout. She's calling pitches for this staff. And so tracking some of these conversions, tracking some of these pitch locations, a big deal for their success.
And this is the only lefty in the lineup that Huachenyo will face for Mississippi State 1 through 9 so far. And now the count even, and the pitch to Silva. Silva, the center fielder, who had that great throw to second to get Ella Parker out after that single. And that broccoli that is carried over from the Eugene Regional, something that they picked up. They ditched the unicorn and opted for heads of broccoli to help them rally. That one low for ball 3. And there's a part of their good luck charm. Broccoli guy Jim Stewart Allen, making the trek from Pacific Northwest to support Mississippi State.
Yeah, this has been a location that Huachenyo has been fighting for. Saw her fight for it during the first inning. This is a ball that breaks away from lefty Ernstez. And you mentioned the only lefty that Huachenyo is going to face in this lineup. Well, lefty's hitting 270 off of her, righty's hitting 189. So she's definitely challenged with batters on the left side of the plate. Looks like the same pitch to me, just standing on the other side of the batter's box.
The consistency of the strike zone has been a very hot topic on the social channels. Abby Grace Richardson did commit, they say, as Kaylee Young at first base says she went around. So now an 0-2 count to the senior out of Brookhaven, Mississippi. Gone 2 for 4 this weekend. An RBI double, almost had a grand slam yesterday.
A lot of experience out of Abby Grace Richardson, coming over from Copiah Lincoln, JUCO transfer.
That one off the glove of Huachenyo, difficult for Garcia, but she finds a way to recover and throw out Richardson at first. And that's the way you have your pitchers back.
We have seen these plays from Gabby Garcia all weekend long. She makes it look so easy. Look at that. From the knees across the diamond, almost the deepest part of the infield. And not just an out, but an out with a lot of time there.
Again, playing clean softball and trying to erase Friday's 4 errors, a season high, as we mentioned, but I just love that change of direction that Garcia had. Des Rivera, the catcher, steps in now. Sophomore out of Chandler, Arizona, is excellent from her shortstop position.
This is another transfer, too, with postseason experience. Coming over from Iowa, she had spent some time also playing at Oregon State. And that was back when they played in the Women's College World Series back in 2022, had hits in both games. Like, there is postseason muscle in so many of these young women from Mississippi State.
Puts it on the ground. Agbayani fields it from second base. The 4-3 put out. Runner left aboard. Nothing pushed across as we move to the bottom of the second. First ever trip to the Women's College World Series. Congratulations to Courtney Deifel and the Razorbacks. Karen Weekly and company are back-to-back. And OKC along with UCLA. And one of these teams will move on and extend their season. It's just a 30-minute drive from Norman, Oklahoma. Cassidy Pickering has been there before, won a national championship with this Sooner program. And they are in search of their 10th consecutive trip to the Women's College World Series.
Home runs on the air for Pickering, left side. This is an Oklahoma team that continues to break records. The only squad in D1 history with 5 of the starting 9 hitting over 20 bombs.
Pickering and Parker, who were part of that last national championship team back in 2024. They ran into a Texas Tech team that was hot last year. They're currently in action down in Gainesville against the Gators. The winner of this Super will face off against either the Gators or the Red Raiders come Thursday. And the walk to Pickering. Well, the Western Conference Finals continues tonight with Game 3. The Las Vegas Golden Knights lead the series with the Colorado Avalanche 2-0. Catch all the action tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Such a wonderful time of the year, right? You've got pro sports and their playoff season. You've got softball, Super Regionals this weekend, Women's College World Series coming up, and then the fellows will follow after that. I mean, the spring season is just full. And you better have your ESPN app too. You know what I'm saying? Because like you're watching it on TV, but you also have to pull it up on your device. You got to see multiple games, multi-view, all that jazz. Gabby Garcia pulls it over and nearly turning the double play, but unable to do so. But Diane Romero goes to Morgan Stiles for the 4-6 put out. And Gabby Garcia is at first with the fielder's choice.
This is a ball that's slowing in on Garcia. You know, I've seen her chase out of the zone quite a bit this weekend. Only 2 hits on the weekend for the lefty. Typically a 400 hitter. I've just seen her a little bit less disciplined at the plate than what she normally shows.
Des Rivera just making a quick equipment change with Taryn McKinney. So now she swaps out. And he's ready to get set.
I'm really enjoying that 20 home run club this weekend. Feels like 200 at times.
The 2-run blast back in Game 1. We just talked about just the way that her production has risen, hitting above 400 this year. Give them 200 points from last year to this season. A big credit, too, to JT Gasso, the associate head coach, who really works hard with all of the OU hitters.
She came in as a catcher, too, Tiffany. I think that's something worth noting. And knowing what came in this season with Kendall Wells, she volunteered to split her time.
But it's Delaney Everett who's able to strike out Emmerling. So second K of the afternoon for Delaney Everett.
The lefty just slicing and dicing here, low in the zone. Beautiful drop ball, breaks off the back of the stance of Emmerling and gets her to go right over the top of that.
That brings up Abby Dayton. Dayton with 1 on and 2 out. Senior from Riverside, California. Remember, began her career at Utah. Went to the Women's College World Series, had that historic run for the Utes back then, and then second season in a Sooner uniform.
She came into Utah as a slapper. I loved getting a chance to chat with Abby Dayton into this weekend about her evolution as starting as a short game swinger, bunt slap, soft contact, and now hard for her to believe that she's a power hitter, that she stands in and swings. Said that really that evolved for her during her time at Utah, working under DJ Gasso. That was their first trip to the Women's College World Series. He's the hitting coach there. He's since moved on to Arkansas. She makes her way to Oklahoma. She's now been coached by all the Gassos.
The 3-0 to Dayton. And the walk, so the 2-out walk, that's how we started the inning. With Cassidy Pickering, who had a walk, and now Abby Dayton is awarded the walk. And look who Patty Gasso is calling on to pinch hit in this situation. That's Lexi McDaniel. We saw it last night with Vic Hunter at Texas. Her pinch hit magic for a home run in the postseason to help lift the Longhorns over Arizona State. But let's go back to yesterday for Lexi McDaniel.
11th of the season, 4th pinch hit jack for this freshman. We mentioned the power of this freshman class. All 4 freshman position players have at least 11 home runs. We saw Lexi McDaniel's 11th yesterday, 3-run shot in the 3rd inning. And she is described by this coaching staff as one of the most aggressive contact hitters that they have on this team.
Freshman out of the Show Me State. And Coach Gasso said after yesterday's win that she loves watching Lexi McDaniel at the plate. It's a player that never gets cheated with her swing. Always going for it, embracing the big moment, loves the big moment. This one, a chopper, eaten up, but still recovery from Nadia Barbary. And that ends the inning. 2 runners left aboard. Still goose egg for OU as Mississippi State is up to bat when we return. Well, a challenge from Oklahoma, so the bottom of the second not done yet. Patty Gasso using one of her 2 challenges as to whether the ball was fair or foul. They say it went off of Lexi McDaniel's foot in the batter's box, so that she should have another opportunity if she is able to win this challenge. McDaniel would come back to the plate. It would be a 1-1 count with runners on first and second if fouled.
And here's the look. I mean, it's close. I can see the dirt come up. This ball goes straight down into the batter's box. This look appears to be the top of the toe for Lexi McDaniel, which would pull her back into the batter's box for another pitch. I think the interesting thing there is you didn't see Lexi stay in the box. She immediately took off to first base. Not really the sell job, right, of a ball that comes off the top of the toe.
And the important piece of it as we harking on it each time is there enough conclusive evidence? Is there enough that you see in that video that overturns the call on the field, which is ruled fair? Let's listen in to Mike Burwell.
After further review, the call on the field will stand. The winner is out. Oklahoma will have one challenge right now.
So unsuccessful in the challenge, one left in the pocket for Oklahoma.
That answers your question. I guess in the eyes of the umpires here, not enough evidence to overturn that call.
So we will step aside once more here. Come back with us to Norman.
Well, the Ricketts effect is real. 12 total years at Mississippi State, 7th as the head coach, and the success under her, it just cannot deny. The first 40-win season, she's got 42 wins here in 2026. Set the program's home run record 5 separate times under her leadership. But to me, it's the super regional appearances, Tiffany. First one back in 2022. Against Arizona at home, and of course their first super regional victory in game 1 here against OU.
Well, she's done a remarkable job, and even a tip to the cap from her former coach, Patty Gasso, of just the way that she has built this program brick by brick and continuing to soar to new heights. The second super regional in 5 years, you mentioned. And again, the base hits starting to register, starting earlier in this game. Now the third base hit, that one coming off the bat of Morgan Stiles.
We saw Morgan Stiles. She hit the Mississippi State postseason hit record yesterday. She tallies on another one here today as a sophomore. Started every single game of her career at shortstop.
Barbary, first pitch swinging. Underneath it is Gabby Garcia, and one down.
Chenio has challenged the inside portion of that strike zone, specifically against righties. That's a call that she hasn't gotten against the lefties that she's faced. Only Tatum Silva on the left side of that plate, but it has worked against these righties for Mississippi State, right in under the hands.
Zion Romero, who had that double back in the first, came in to score after Kinley Keller. You think about the success of Samantha Ricketts, but you also got to shout out Tyler Bratton, right? The associate head coach, 13th season on staff, played baseball at Mississippi State. He was there and arrived a full season before Ricketts, but these two have really worked well together for the time that they have been there. They were part of Van Studeman's staff before Ricketts took over, and just a great pairing all the way around of helping to build that roster, that culture, and instilling that state pride.
We've talked about defensive success for both of these teams. Tyler Bratton, the one that oversees defense here for Mississippi State. Outfield, defense, base running, I mean, that's his area of expertise.
That one getting past well, so allowing Stiles to move into scoring position, standing at second base. And the faithful who have traveled with the Bulldogs from Starkville here to Norman, hopeful that Hale State can add another insurance run or more. So after the pass ball, Kendall Wells goes out to the circle to have a quick chat with Miley Wachenio. Just a quick temperature check with the battery and the infield.
Chenio, an Ole Miss transfer in the circle for Oklahoma, was at the Women's College World Series last year with Ole Miss.
That one out to Kai Minor. And tagging up is Morgan Stiles and slides underneath there as the ball pops out. So now State has a runner 60 feet closer to home with 2 outs. And Morgan Bernardini, rather Kinley Keller, coming to the plate. She knocked in the lone 2 runs of this game.
Associate head coach Jen Rocha coming out to have a word. Talked about Chenio, the experience from Ole Miss coming over to Oklahoma. You saw that brief talk, the check-in with Kendall Wells. I mean, this is a young arm, a sophomore arm that focused specifically on poise of the mentality in the circle. Spent a lot of time with mental performance coach Bill Moore this year, working with Oklahoma, wanted to polish the composure on the mound, and it's greatly improved. She feel like that has been the difference between her performance last year in the Women's College World Series postseason run, coming into Oklahoma knowing exactly what the expectation was going to be for Chenio.
And look, when you think about the 52 wins put up by Oklahoma this season, they were regular season champs, as I mentioned, in the SEC. They'd never really wavered at the plate. We knew it, the outstanding defense that they had, but the area of concern slightly has been in the circle.
They did. They had to replace 2 Women's College World Series arms last year, and Kelly Maxwell, Carly Keeney.
First pitch swinging deep in the 5-6 hole from her knees. Not able to make the throw in time, and another run comes across. Kinley Keller responsible for all 3 runs for Mississippi State.
The contrast of offensive production for these teams is so interesting to me. There is just something gritty and athletic and fundamental about Mississippi State and their approach at the plate. The flashiness of Oklahoma's offense, the towering home runs, the massive home run productive numbers from Oklahoma, and you look at what Mississippi State has done this weekend. It's gap-to-gap hitting. It's passing the bat. It's never saying die at home plate. The late inning rallies, the 6th and 7th inning, those 9 runs that they scored in game 1, it has just been consistency they have applied to the staff of Oklahoma.
The 0-2 to Bernardini. And you said it from the beginning when you had your conversation with Sam Ricketts before the game, just a load off of this group, not carrying any pressure coming into this game. With obviously so much at stake, the response there from Chenio getting the strikeout.
First K of the game for Miley Chenio. Can this be the spark that Oklahoma's looking for?
Devils, and you take a look, we're entering the bottom of the 3rd inning. That 3rd inning was monumental for this Sooner offense yesterday, scoring all of their 7 runs in the 3rd.
What is it about the 3rd inning for the Sooners? Maybe they'll find that magic here. They have not scored a run since the 3rd inning yesterday in game 2. All 7 runs came via the 3rd yesterday.
So due up this inning, Ailana Akbayani, Kai Minor, and Ella Parker. Akbayani, who is still searching for her first base hit of the weekend after going 4 of 7 in regionals. That was the weekend in which YOU offense dominated their opponents, outscoring them 28-1.
Bayani, a senior coming over from BYU. A lot of speed from the left side. Has the ability to use that short game to challenge this defense. Without a doubt, the fastest player on this team.
You say Bayani over Kai Minor?
Oh,
strong
wouldn't you love,
statement. Oh,
wouldn't you love to see that leg race right there?
Bayani gets into this one, into right, and allowed out for the first of this third inning. The Women's College World Series returns to Oklahoma City. The action begins Thursday, May 28th at 12 Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2026 Women's College World Series, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Who will be the next team to join them? Along with Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Nebraska, and UCLA already with tickets punched. Back to the top of the order with Kai Minor, who struck out her first time up.
6 extra base hits for the NCAA tournament for Kai Minor. There's associate head coach JT Gasso, the hitting brains, the offensive genius behind Oklahoma's offense. Very individualistic coach. I mean, truly down to the mechanics, the kinetic sequence of each one of these young women, all the success that they've had under him. 10 seasons at Oklahoma. Since he stepped in 2016, this is a program that's averaged 7.7 runs per game.
And they lead the nation this year with better than 10 runs a game, along with average. And second in the nation in home runs with 187. Kai Minor takes that ball high. It's now 1-2.
I was trying to crack the code. I was asking multiple of these Sooners, like, what's the style? What is the sauce that allows you guys to be so good? The coaching and the influence from JT Gasso.
And that one smacked into left field, and Kai Minor is aboard with a one-out base hit.
The only answer I got was everybody's different. From Kai Minor to Abby Dayton to Kendall Wells, up and down this order. The care, the detail, the coaching for each one of these young women coming from associate head coach JT Gasso. It is tailored to each one of these swings, and it has proven to be successful up and down this order.
Parker at the plate, Wells on deck. The pitch to Ella Parker is low for ball one. Also, you think about the 17 stolen bases for Kai Minor. Patty Gasso mentioned yesterday that she looked to put a little bit more pressure on this Mississippi State defense. They did a little delayed steal yesterday, so will we see Minor take off in this instance? Outside for ball two. She's got 17 stolen bags on the year. As we mentioned, her wheels. The lefty delivers to Parker. And ball three. Worth noting that Delaney Everett has pitched 3 innings. That's a season high. Go back to April 17th at Texas A&M. Now in this third inning, will we see Everett beyond now? That's a question mark that will have to be answered by the Mississippi State coaching staff. But here, a 3-1 count with some activity in the bullpen for the Bulldogs. And the pitch to Parker. Now count full after that swing.
Pitching coach Moet McKinney, assistant coach, her third season overseeing the pitching staff here at Mississippi State.
Parker lifts this one into the outfield, and coming to get it is Morgan Bernardini, and 2 away. That sets up the big bopper in Kendall Wells. Just to remind our viewers of the home run race that has been this season, one of the more entertaining things to watch in this Division I college softball season. The chase right now, Kendall Wells trailing by just 1 home run behind Megan Grant, who holds the NCAA single season record.
Wells 0 for 2 against Everett. I think about game 1, there was 2 on with Wells up to bat in the 7th, and you and I talked about it. Is this going to be a walk situation? Is Everett going to put her on base? And she went right at her. She got her to pop up, a massive out for Mississippi State. And Wells still looking for her first hit off of this arm.
And that one hits Wells in the helmet. And Wells feels that one as she is in noticeable pain. And Kendall Wells shaken up greatly after that one. Patty Gasso going to check on. You saw the broken part of the helmet. Would look to crack a piece of it in, and she is still being tended to right now. And she is kind of wafting back and forth right now, grabbing that left jaw where the impact was from the ball.
I mean, talking to Coach Gasso, Kendall Wells is one of the toughest kids on this team. Every single person we've talked to talks about the tenacity of this young woman, just gritty, tough as nails, nothing she wouldn't do, would run through a wall for this team. That one up and in.
Just think about her position on the field as a catcher.
It's a beating.
Already taking a beating behind the plate, and there. An unfortunate ball to the face mask, and there's concern inside Love's Field. The fans just looking on, hopeful that their freshman phenom is okay.
They are going to pinch run for Wells.
You also have to consider concussion protocol
Right.
to come into play as well. She looked a little woozy there. We hope that she is okay as she walks back to the dugout, and will get attention from the athletic training staff. So a scary moment here in Norman. We're going to have a pinch runner for Kendall Wells. It's going to be Tia Malloy. There's Tia standing at first.
Right now, if you're Delaney Everett, like, having to gather yourself after that pitch, you know that's not intentional, right? You've got an entire stadium that has some audible feedback. You're having to compose yourself in the circle to then have to turn around and face a Cassidy Pickering, who's been red hot through the postseason with runners on.
And we've mentioned before, and you said it too, a young lady in Delaney Everett, biggest start of her career. She too has been through so much, battled through injury, had to overcome a lot in her personal life. As Everett will have an opportunity to take a couple of warm-up throws. She hears it from the OU fans, but both coaches grabbing the ears of this blue crew.
You mentioned just the resilience of Everett, and the story of overcoming throughout her last 2 seasons. Lost her dad last year, just 10 days before her sophomore year started. Battled through injuries, surgery earlier this year to fight for this moment. And you know that hit by pitch, not intentional. You can see that was the badge number, her father, a highway patrolman. So she wears that in honor of him.
Now back to play with Pickering standing in, 2 runners aboard, 2 out. And OU searching for their first runs of the game. They've got an opportunity here. 0 for 4 today with runners on. Pickering can change that with the swing. And glad to see Kendall Wells in the dugout looking on. She's got that ice bag for that left side of her face.
Kendall Wells, Cassidy Pickering, so good with runners on. Just under a 400 average with ducks on the pond, specifically first and second base, a 350 hitter.
And right now, keeping it away from Pickering, understand how productive she has been in the competitive ABs that she's had throughout this weekend. Big cut there, and what a strikeout for Delaney Everett and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. You see the emotion from the Bulldogs, who also come in as underdogs.
Everett having to compose herself to face one of the toughest bats in this lineup. Sits down Cassidy Pickering with the curveball and head coach Patty Gasso when we come back.
And a 3-0 ball game as we move to the top of the 4th. Joining us now, Oklahoma head coach Patty Gasso, and coach, a very scary moment last inning with Kendall Wells taking that ball to the face mask. Obviously, she's okay, but your concern moving forward?
I think it rattled a lot of us here, and just unfortunately it's part of the game, and we care first about Kendall more than anything, so we got to make sure we check her out. But we got to not let this stuff affect us. But when it's one of your best friends, it just does, you know.
You led me right to the next question, which is how do you zone back in the focus? There's so much noise and chaos going on right now.
Yeah, we just talked about it. I mean, this is our home. This is our house, and we need to protect this house. So it's just calming everybody down and starting over. There's been a lot. There's been a ball off Lexi's foot. There's stuff that was, yeah, I'll stop right there. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. You can sense it, the frustration there of just trying to get this train back on the tracks. A lot of chaos, a lot of noise. Feels like there's been a lot of distraction, right? I mean, literally the sound of the stadium at times feels hostile, like a very tough environment, even on their home turf. So she's trying to zone this team back in.
Well, this is a program that doesn't lose much here at Love's Field at all, whether it's regular season or postseason, as Paige Ernsted's first pitch swinging to left field, and it's out of here. A solo shot for Paige Ernsted's, and State now up 4-0. Her 4th home run of the season. And the sophomore provides a little extra insurance, and that draws Patty Gasso back out of the dugout.
It's the second home run that Wachenio's given up, and this is just too sweet over the strike zone against Paige Ernstez. An absolute bomb, pull side, power alley monster. And we have talked about the importance of momentum for both of these teams. In speaking to both of these programs coming into this weekend, they both mentioned both generating momentum, managing momentum, and it feels, Tiffany, like all of the momentum is in the driver's seat right now of Mississippi State and Oklahoma making a change now in the circle.
The afternoon is done for Miley Wachenio as a new pitcher standing in the circle, the freshman Berkeley Zakay. We'll tell you more about her when we come back. Tough day at the office for the sophomore Miley Wachenio. 5 hits, 3 earned runs given up in 3 innings pitched. And Berkeley Zakay now coming in relief for her, the freshman out of Niles, Michigan. And her first win of the season back in regional play, and that win over Binghamton. Gave up 1 hit, 1 base on ball, and 2 innings of relief. They called on her again.
We've seen 2 changeups already in 3 pitches. This is a rise ball arm, a changeup arm, and a young arm, Tiffany. You can't stress that enough. A big situation here to get the call as a freshie.
What a moment for first-time opportunities. You talk about Berkeley Zakay. You got Audrey Lowry, who pitched an amazing game yesterday, and she walked away with the win. Complete game effort for her. She's warming up in the bullpen if needed. Tatum Silva rolls it over to Gabby Garcia, who guns it to first. And 1 down.
Well, the freshman steps in and feeds the defense immediately. This is what OU needs. This was an area that they have focused on for this pitching staff coming into this weekend, but really all year, is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to blow the ball by people. You need quality pitches, and you need to feed the ball to one of the best defenses in the nation. And if I'm Zakay, that's my focus here. I don't need to be something I'm not. I don't need to make this moment too big. I need to be fundamental. I need to hit spots. I need to trust my defense.
A player on this pitching staff that has come along and has had some nice development in the limited time that she's had this season. And 14th appearance of the year. Not many innings pitched. 14 and a third coming in. But now ahead in the count to Abby Grace Richardson, 1-2. The pitch on the way. now, it's Mississippi State playing all-around ball here with the trip to the Women's College World Series on the line. They've never been this far in their program's history, and they're looking to write a new chapter if they can pull out a win today.
It's interesting to see more of the off-speed coming out of the hand of Zakay, too, because that's not been a pitch that Mississippi State has been very successful on. True changeups, hitless. They've only had one hit off of an off-speed pitch.
There's the off-speed offering, and down the left field line and rounding first base. And the double for Abby Grace Richardson. Well, she continues her hot hitting during Super Regional round.
Right on cue. It's the first time we've seen Mississippi State be on time for the changeup. This is still a bit early, but it's down the line past Barker. And Abby Grace Richardson finding that double. Consistent, steady pressure. That has been the name of the game for Mississippi State.
3 hits on the weekend, a couple of doubles for Richardson. The third extra base hit this afternoon for these Mississippi State batters. And right now, this is an antsy OU fan base, stunned right now at the current score and situation. Going around there, you said trying to time it up, and early on the off speed.
If she can continue to spot this pitch, she's going to see some success off of it. Maybe a little bit lower in the zone, that one belt high.
It's on top of it, handled by Barker. And Sydney Barker retires Des Rivera. Rivera goes back to the dugout, and now to the top of the order with Morgan Stiles.
Stiles had that single back in the the third inning.
You see the first 4 innings, the first 2 they collected 6 hits. In this game alone, they've got 6 hits to go along with those 4 runs. So they doubled their run total for the first 4.
You can feel some momentum brewing here for the freshman in the circle. Zakay starting to hammer that strike zone now. An 0-2 count against Stiles.
That one on top of the Mississippi State dugout. Still the count 0-2. And they're trying to inject some energy into Zakay, into this OU program, trailing by 4 runs. Foul back again on top of the roof. Holding out for that one, Garcia, who's been busy along with this OU infield defense. And they get Zakay out of the inning. Samantha Ricketts will get a chance to talk with her as her team is up 4-0.
Paige Ernstez adds another insurance run to the board. 4-0. It's State the lead.
Mississippi State carrying a 4-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Bulldogs head coach Samantha Ricketts joining us now. And Coach, you've talked about your team coming out on the attack in an environment like this. How is it that you've been able to keep your team dialed in?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all year long. That's why we play in the best conference and that we're ready for this. Every moment's like a super regional. And, you know, we know that nobody's picking us and that there's no pressure in our dugout. We get to go out and have fun and dictate our energy.
Coach, you mentioned the looseness, the fun of this squad, especially coming into game 3. What did you notice specifically that was different about this squad today?
I think they just really committed to, you know, we want to leave everything on the line. No regrets. Go out there, give it everything we have, energy-wise, effort, and let the chips fall where they may. And I thought they did a great job of staying loose on our way to the game and then at the start of this game as well.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Hail State.
The broccoli. The broccoli's there.
Yeah. The broccoli has been a big part of the run. Hey, look, the first start this season for Delaney Everett, it comes in game 3 of Super Regionals with a chance to extend your season or be the end of your season. And look at the way that she has stepped up in this starting role today.
It's big time. We saw her coming in as the closer in game 1. You and I immediately picked up on the energetic presence of Delaney Everett.
Aaron Miller, Thiessen, Tiffany Green here with you as the Oklahoma Sooners trailing by 4 runs. If they're able to come back and win this one, they would march on to the Women's College World Series for a 10th consecutive season. This is a program that has had so much history and so much success. However, throughout that history, 0 for 13 when trailing by 4 or more runs in the Super Regionals or later. They're hoping that they can be that one as a towering fly ball off the bat of Gabby Garcia. And Bernardini collects out number 1.
Just this season, too, Tiffany, this is an OU squad in 2026 that's had 16 comeback wins. 3 of those with 4 runs in the deficit. One of those most recently against Arkansas, where DJ Gasso coaches on staff. And that was here, right here at Love's Field.
Well, when you think about just the offensive awesomeness of this Oklahoma team, top to bottom, even off the bench, this is a team that can score runs in a hurry and in bunches. But Rivera underneath it, Delaney Everett getting Emerling to pop out for the second out of the inning. It's been the comfort and the ease that we have seen from Delaney Everett, and this is the longest outing that she has had this season. That brings up Abby Dayton with 2 outs and a strike in to the lefty.
We had asked Coach Ricketts about Delaney this year and just being year 3, highly scouted, even through the injury, the personal overcome of just situations that she's dealt with through losing her father. Well, this is an arm that has no secrets, especially coming into her 3rd season. These teams know her, they know how to scout her, how to prepare for her, and so what was the edge for her this season? Was continuing to move the ball through the zone, especially late in that breaking plane.
Dayton sends this one into foul territory in left field. And a 1-2-3 inning, just like it was back in the first. State on top. In favor of Mississippi State, who is in search of their first ever Women's College World Series appearance in program history. For Oklahoma, well, it would be their 10th straight going to OKC. That in jeopardy right now. Aaron Miller, Thiessen, Tiffany Green here with you. And I can tell you, partner, this is not playing out maybe the way some would have expected. If you watched Oklahoma softball all year long, they've been one of the more dominant teams this season. That's a year in and year out type of occurrence for this group. But you also mentioned yesterday how Mississippi State was one of those teams that you felt like were overlooked.
An unseeded team. I think that they were very underrated. One of the toughest SEC schedules of any team to come through SEC play. We heard it from head coach Sam Ricketts that they feel like their schedule is tough enough to prepare for this moment.
We know for certain an SEC team will advance from this site. One of them will look to join Tennessee, Alabama, the #1 overall seed, and the Arkansas Razorbacks. And the leadoff walk to Nadia Barbary to start it off here in the top of the 5th.
So here's something we know about Oklahoma as head coach Patty Gasso coming out to have a word with her defense. This team scores a lot of runs. Top 2 in the nation in runs scored. Chasing a record for the most home runs just behind UCLA. I mean, this squad is gonna score runs. And so right now for Mississippi State is 4-0.
Well, now you also have Audrey Lowry entering the circle. Remember, she was yesterday's winner. She picked up her 23rd after that Game 2 performance. She's looked great. She's had the most appearances for this senior staff over the last 10 games, and they have called on her before, and they're going to call on her again to try to keep things the way they are and give that offense you talked about a chance.
She was excellent yesterday. 87 total pitches against Mississippi State. We've talked about the specific categories that this OU pitching staff tracks, and it was first pitch strikes. She was absolutely money in the zone early, the curve, the drop, and the defense behind her. I mean, it was all there for Oklahoma. And today, man, it has just felt like chaos for the Sooners. I mean, we heard it from Coach Gasso in the 4th inning, mid-game interview. She's working hard to get this team to zone back in their focus. A lot of distractions through 4 innings.
Well, you gotta love the response, too, of Audrey Lowry, understanding Game 1, she got hit around a little bit. But yesterday, both she and her team came out with a different type of fire. And Patty Gasso mentioned, hey, look, Audrey Lowry was very effective, very efficient, incredibly confident, and she had everything under control. So that's how the team rallied behind her, and they hope they can rally behind the Pittsburgh, Indiana native once again.
She's worked a lot on that velocity. I mean, getting up into the high 60s, a really, really tight lefty spin, cutting through the zone. We've mentioned the strike zone. I mean, the fact that most of her break and her movement, I mean, it was 50-50 getting calls in her way, which to me, I felt like the best pitch she threw all game long was the very first pitch to each of these batters.
Zion Romero, first pitch swinging. And again, attacking early. Have you noticed just the plan for the Mississippi State batters coming in and not wasting a lot of time or seeing a lot of pitches?
We just haven't seen him chase. There's been 1 strikeout all game. With Chenio having the 1K back in the 3rd, but it really has been patience at the plate. They're aggressive when it matters, and they have stayed locked in to whatever it is they're sitting on, whatever game plan they have at the plate. They have not wavered.
The wild pitch, and Barbary moves to second base now in scoring position. Sam Ricketts coming out, going to make a change and bring in a pinch runner for Barbary. So it's going to be Alan Supin who comes in, the freshman out of Phoenix City, Alabama. And a big voice in the dugout, too. You talk about that energy and the way she keeps it up and just how she is pass it from teammate to teammate. Allie Supin got a lot of love from her Bulldog teammates when we got a chance to talk with them earlier this week. She's partly responsible for that broccoli. She eyed down broccoli guy out in Eugene last weekend. How many heads of broccoli did we see before the game?
I think there had to at least be like one for each on the roster. 20 plus heads of broccoli.
Yeah. The 2-2 to Romero. High for ball 3. Full count now. Sophomore out of Elsinore, California. Came up with a 3rd hit back in the 1st inning with a double. This time, a diving Barker, but deep in the hole, boy, Gabby Garcia has just gunned overthrows the first base all game long.
She did money. Covering a lot of ground in that 5-6 hole, cuts across to back up Sydney Barker, and the absolute shot across the field. We have seen that multiple times this weekend. One thing to have the range, but to follow it up with the throw, so impressive.
First pitch swinging from Kinley Keller. She's done that all day today. The last 2 have netted 3 runs. This time, a 5-3 put out.
Feed the defense was something we heard from Audrey Lowry for Oklahoma, and she's doing it here since stepping in for relief for Zakay.
So Supin still hanging out there at second. And Morgan Bernardini now has an opportunity. Lowry readies the pitch. High and tight. Ball 2.
Associate head coach Jim Rocha, who was out for the majority of this season battling cervical cancer. It was a devastating loss earlier this year for this pitching staff. That was actually a challenge that Audrey Lowry had mentioned to us, just asking specifically, hey, what are some things that this pitching staff has had to work through? And it was an easy answer for her. It was the absence of their pitching coach, Jim Rocha, the majority of this season battling cervical cancer, and getting her back halfway through the year was pivotal.
Bernardini lays into this one into left field, and a 2-run shot for Morgan Bernardini. Silencing this crowd here at Love's Field. The contingency from Starkville that traveled here have reason to celebrate.
It's so poetic, right, for Bernardini, a senior, getting the call here in Game 3. This one over the meat of the strike zone, a late breaking curveball in her power alley, and 2 more insurance runs on the board for the Bulldogs. You heard it yesterday from head coach Sam Ricketts. An underdog is still a dog, and right now the Bulldogs have absolutely unleashed.
7 hits, 4 of them for extra bases, 2 of them have left the yard. Remember, we told you this stat before. The winner of Game 1 in a Super Regional goes on to win 79% of the time. Right now, a 6-0 advantage for State. And Paige Ernstez, the last time she was up, she lifted one out of here.
Well, they call her pinch hit Paige, which is what she did the majority of her freshman year. That was the experience that she collected coming into the pinch hit role. Last year, 9 for 28 with 5 extra base hits, 8 walks. I mean, she was a stud off the bench.
They fly out to left, and that ends the inning. 8-9, and back to the top, due up for Oklahoma, but Mississippi State going to work, sending them yard, the 4th home run for Morgan Bernardini, and the Dogs on top, 6-0. The unseeded Mississippi State Bulldogs carry a 6-run lead moving into the bottom of the 5th inning. The Sooners have never come back from a deficit of 5 or more runs in their NCAA tournament history, which is wide-spanning. 8 national titles for this program, but one of the things that they have not done often or had to do often is come from behind. And here, this is the largest deficit that Patty Gasso's crew has faced in 5 seasons.
Rivera's got something in the eye. Bug, dirt, something's going on.
And after the way we saw Oklahoma come back yesterday, they were punched first, but they delivered a blowback in game 2 to even up the series. This is an unexpected outcome to this point.
Look, let's be real here. Even with the numbers here, 0-3, never come back from a 5-run deficit. You and I are still up here, and so is the entire world holding their breath thinking, hey, this is the most potent offense in the nation, one of. It's got to be a matter of time, right? Before you see this offense unload. Well, it's going to have to start here with Barker. Lexi McDaniel pinch hit for her back in the 2nd inning.
And Barker sends this one flying to left field, and at the warning track, Bernardini has it. That was one of the best cuts we've seen all weekend from Sydney Barker. But now you have to also ask this question. This is, again, we talked about the uncharted territory from a program history perspective for Mississippi State, but their lefty has never pitched this deep into a game this season. How long can she last in the circle against that potent offense you referenced?
That's a great point. Ever at a career high with innings thrown here.
Ilana Agbayani at the plate now. See the exchange between the 2 transfers, and Phasia Gould and Alyssa Faircloth in the bullpen, hopeful, praying for a miracle here. And it would be if Mississippi State is able to hold on and punch their ticket to their first ever Women's College World Series. Underneath it is Agbayani. 3 Bulldogs converging in, and Tatum Silva has it for out number 2.
Just the fact that we haven't seen a home run yet, right? From a squad that
has hit a home run in 57 of their 61 games, partner. 187 on the season.
I was searching for that stat.
Yeah, I got you.
It's a feat to keep that ball in the yard.
Kai Minor, fly ball out to left. And 3 fly ball outs. 3 up, 3 down for the Sooners. Just a 6-pitch inning for Everett. The #1 scoring offense in the country has been held scoreless through 5 innings as Oklahoma trails 6-0 against Mississippi State. The Bulldogs have never made a trek to the Women's College World Series. They're 30 minutes away and potentially 6 outs away from advancing on to Devon Park. It's been 9 straight trips for this Oklahoma Sooner program. They're trying to make it 10 straight. But they've got a big hole they must climb out of in order to do so. The largest deficit that we have seen from an OU team in the last 5 seasons. Trailing by these 6 runs. And Agbayani off the quick hop. And the toss to first, and Tatum Silva is retired. But the defense has held up. The infield has been busy today, and they've made plays. A 180 from what we saw Friday. They cleaned things up, shored things up yesterday, and again here today. Abby Grace Richardson, who you mentioned has been to the World Series on the JUCO level, helped to lead her program to back-to-back appearances, and now has an opportunity to do it with Mississippi State. The face mask of Lowry charging Agbayani, but she's not going to be able to throw it in time. And Richardson is aboard safely.
Abby Grace Richardson, a senior, only played 13 games here as a junior and was a JUCO tournament MVP in 2023. Hit that grand slam in the national title game, actually.
The 0-1 to Des Rivera. Richardson at first. The pitch from Lowry. Swing and a miss. The cut there. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one flared into right. Ella Parker is underneath it, and 2 down. Bottom half of the hour, Aaron Miller, Thiessen, Tiffany Green here with you. And Mississippi State is trying to pull off the upset here at Love's Field to march their first ever Women's College World Series if they can hold on to this win, or this lead rather. And after picking up their first ever Super Regional win Friday under Sam Ricketts, the former OU All-American, she now stands in line to take them even further. And the base hit from Morgan Stiles. So 2 runners aboard and 2 out here in the top of the 6th. And this is a Mississippi State team that wants to tack on some more insurance. They're encroaching upon that run rule territory as well.
I'll tell you the way it feels right now in this stadium. You and I getting a full sense, a full weekend of this environment, it feels like a fan base and a stadium that doesn't quite know what to do with themselves. It's quiet. It's a little eerie. There's not a lot of energy or momentum that you feel is brewing in the stands. And frankly, this is a program and a fan base that just isn't used to feeling this, being down 6 runs with their season on the line. I mean, that is a muscle that hasn't been repped to the point we've made in 10 years.
Unfamiliar territory, to your point, and we saw the OU fans try to give some energy in the 3rd and the 4th to try to get them going. Obviously, the scary moment with Kendall Wells being hit in the helmet with the ball, and obviously she's been tough enough to enter back in the ball game. But to your point, Aaron, this crowd is stunned right now. That begs the question too, then how do you make sure that you don't play tight? You know, moving forward. You had a 6-pitch inning for OU batters last inning, 1, 2, 3. How do you make sure you don't press, understanding you don't have many outs to work with your season on the line?
And this is all coming with a team that, per Coach Gasso, this is one of the best offensive teams that she's ever coached. She feels like there's no weakness. Truly, one of the best freshman classes she's ever had. Defensively, one of the best teams on the dirt she's ever had.
And going to get it and snagging it out of the air is Agbayani. Well, we'll have an opportunity to see one of those best offenses in the nation coming up to bat with Parker Wells in Pickering, who spent 2 seasons as a graduate assistant for the Sooners, now facing off against her former team and alma mater. Hey, look, she was the first former player to notch a win against her Hall of Fame head coach, and now she's trying to do something that has never been done before in Mississippi State softball history, and that's move on to the Women's College World Series. Former player versus former coach. What a homecoming it has been thus far for Samantha Ricketts, who knows that at any time a ticking time bomb can go off with this Oklahoma offense, with the way that they've been able to produce runs via the long ball specifically, but also how they're able to hang double-digit runs as an average for a season. Ella Parker takes that ball outside for ball 3. You've got Parker with 22 home runs. Kendall Wells on deck with 39 home runs, and Cassidy Pickering with 20 sitting in the hole.
Really nice walk there by Ella Parker. Just looking at my scorebook here, I mean, the last 7 batters have flied out. They popped up, flied out. The ball has to be on time with the barrel. Right now, the swings just look too big. Trying to hit the ball out of the yard, trying to be a home run at bat every single time. And we've seen the success that Mississippi State has had, being gap to gap, putting a hard barrel on the ball. And I think that that is an adjustment right now that Oklahoma has to make at the plate.
To this point, it's been Delaney Everett who's had the best of Kendall Wells this weekend. But Wells feeling that stinger from back in the 3rd inning, would like nothing better to send one flying. And help her team work their way back into this ball game.
39 home runs on the year as a freshman. 1 away behind Megan Graham, who holds the record single season.
that one flied out to left field, and Wells is retired. You talked about the number of fly balls that we've seen over the last couple of innings. Another one right there from Wells.
8 of the last 9 fly ball outs.
And this is the meat of the order, if you will, although it's so stacked from top to bottom. Very little weak spots in this lineup for OU, but your best home run hitters coming to the plate. We saw Wells, we saw Parker, now Pickering. And Gabby Garcia on deck.
In the 20 or more home run club. The only team in D1 history to do it, it's Oklahoma. And they have not had a home run during this game 3. And to be honest, not really even one that's flirted with the wall. Seen some deep shots in the gap, a couple line shots right at people, but hasn't been there. Delaney Everett's done a nice job of shutting it down through the strike zone.
1-2 count to Pickering. That one lifted into center field. Catching it like a can of corn is Tatum Silva for out 2.
10 of 11.
Again, you saw that graphic for those home runs. That's how they're stacked in the lineup, 2 through 6. Garcia, another one of them. But right now, 0 for 7 this afternoon with runners on. That one gets past Rivera, and Parker will now move into scoring position after the wild pitch.
If I'm Gabby Garcia, my goal right now would be hit the ball as hard as I possibly can on the ground. Can I pound this ball into the dirt? Can I force a perfect glove on the ball, a perfect throw, and a perfect catch to get an out? You got to make these outs more competitive.
Pitch just outside for ball 2. Just the 3rd runner in scoring position this game for the Sooners. High for ball 3. Now 3-1 the count. Remember, this is a career high innings pitched for Delaney Everett. And another fly out here. That ends the inning. Just 2 hits allowed by Delaney Everett. Shutout softball as she takes a big sigh of relief and gets a hug from her head coach. A 6-0 lead for Mississippi State heading into the top of the 7th inning as the Bulldogs seeking their first ever Women's College World Series. No team has ever beaten Oklahoma to reach their first Women's College World Series. It's a very familiar place for Patty Gasso and the Sooner program. They've been 9 straight times, 18 times overall in program history. And the David and Goliath matchup here in Mississippi State, looking for their first ever. On the doorstep of it now. Zion Romero leads it off
What this team has done offensively too, Tiffany. I mean, this is a Mississippi State squad that hadn't scored 6 runs in a game since April 19th. They've done it twice in 3 days.
We saw that amazing rally late Friday, putting up 9 of their 11 runs over the 6th and 7th inning to walk a run with a Game 1 win, their first super regional win in program history. And we keep denoting the historic nature of what Mississippi State has done already this weekend and what they look to continue to add to here today. You remember Ole Miss, Texas Tech made their first ever Women's College World Series appearance last year. It was the Red Raiders going all the way to Game 3 of the Champ Series against Texas. Just a reminder, the defending champion Longhorns currently in action against Arizona State over on ESPN News. Right back at you, up the middle from Zayan Romero to lead off with the base hit. That was a 3-2 count. Nice piece of hitting there from Romero. Second hit of the ball game for Zayan.
She gets kind of caught up right on the hands, but is able to push this barrel through contact. A nice extension up the middle of the field and a leadoff line for Mississippi State. You talked about the history. Arkansas punching their ticket for the very first time this year, and a chance here for Mississippi State as well.
Congratulations to Courtney Deifel, another one from the coaching tree of Patty Gasso. The Hogs, who have been knocking on the door the last few seasons, finally breaking through. Kinley Keller, who's produced her career-high 3 RBI in this game. Had a 2-run single back in the first to get Mississippi State on the board, and then tacked on another with an infield single in the third. Kinley Keller drives it over to Gabby Garcia from her knees, makes the throw to second, and gets the lead runner and 1 away. And Patty Gasso coming out of the dugout and having a quick chat with Mike Burrell over at second base.
Yeah, the question here was if Romero potentially got in the way of the attempted throw to first base, trying to roll up that double play. There was no contact made. So at least from our vantage point up here in the booth, it didn't appear that there was any contact made, but potentially Romero not choosing to slide into second to try to delay the throw from Agbayani. He's trying to go to first base.
Patty Gasso is still trying to figure out answers to this unsolved riddle of how they've got to this point, trailing by 6, and trying to just find any area of window, try to swing things in her team's favor. Morgan Bernardini, 1 for 3 today, had that 2-run homer to lift the score to where it is now, back in the 5th. Parker off the hop, handles it. They try to turn the double play and successfully do so. The 6-4-3 DP. And now Samantha Ricketts 3 outs away from advancing to Mississippi State's first ever Women's College World Series. Meanwhile, the Sooners, solid defense for sure with this turn double play, but down to their final 3 outs of the season.
It has to be the junior, right? It has to be Delaney Everett. What she has done this game has been otherworldly. Poetic, honestly, for everything that she has overcome through personal injury, the loss of her father last year. I mean, it had to be this young woman in the circle for Mississippi State.
And pitching the game of her life, first start of this season, a career high in innings pitched. And right now, 3 outs away from helping her team advance to their first ever Women's College World Series in program history. Patty Gasso is hopeful for a turnaround here, and very quickly in the bottom of the 7th with their 10th consecutive trip to OKC on the line. Isabella Emmerling right back up the middle, just the 3rd base hit, but the leadoff batter aboard for the Sooners.
It's the first time they've hit the ball on the ground in 11 at-bats.
Patty Gasso coming out the dugout and gonna ask for a pinch runner. Cheney Helton trots to first base. Sophomore Oklahoma native. And can the Sooners rally here? Try to put up 6 runs to tie, or perhaps walk it off. I have to continue to reference where we were last weekend in Lubbock as Texas Tech was down to their final strike and came off and had one of the most unbelievable comebacks we have ever seen.
It's been done.
And the Red Raiders advance and make back-to-back Women's College World Series appearances after their win over Florida. The first 2 for that program under head coach Jerry Glasgow. The last time the Sooners came back from 6 or more runs, you had to go back to 2018 when they were able to top the Wichita State Shockers. An 0-2 count to Abby Dayton. Pull that one foul and out of play.
There's a different lock-in this season with Abby Dayton, senior year. The mental game, the physical game, the surge in her power numbers, her ability to manage counts, especially in an 0-2 situation here. You've got to have the mental resilience in this situation.
She stands back in, awaits the pitch. That one outside for ball 1. Dayton hitting .389 on the season. Flied out and walked in this game. That one sent to center field. Another fly out here and one away. And what a game it has been for Delaney Everett. better than 6 innings of shutout softball held the Sooners to just 3 hits. And she stands back in, ready once more. She'll face off against the pinch hitter, Alyssa Parker. Parker 3 for 8 as a pinch hitter this season. And in there for a strike is Parker, out of the state of Oklahoma, double-digit home runs. And doesn't need a lot of at-bats to do so. Very efficient when she's had opportunities. That one kept outside, now 1-2.
How about this call for the freshman? Coming off the bench, so valuable for this team, the depth that she provides off the bench for this offense. It's hard to find the best way to use her. Also a pitcher on the staff.
The pitch inside, did she go around? They say no. Instead, it hits the shoulder of Parker.
You can already see umpires coming together to chat this through. That does hit her on the back of the arm. So it's a great look from our crew. See, it hits the bicep. They did not call a strike on the check swing. Ricketts also out of the dugout having a word here.
Both coaches out.
You know, I never saw the call on the field for the hit by pitch. That was not something we heard from
Rolling
the
on the field is ball 2. Oklahoma is challenging that the batter was hit by pitch.
That's it.
That play will be under review.
That's it. I was waiting to see the call from home plate umpire Willie Lopez, and he never once put up his hands and cued a hit by pitch. So they're going to take this to the headset. I'll be shocked if this isn't overturned as a hit by pitch. I mean, we could see it pretty clearly from our view.
Yeah, it appears that again that right bicep, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And keep in mind, this is the only thing that's under review. So the check swing is not under review. And on that look right there, it appears that the barrel may have crossed home plate. Would have been a strike, but Willie Lopez, home plate umpire, did not call the check swing. So the only thing under review right now is the hit by pitch. You cannot double dip reviews. Important just to clean that up.
This is the second challenge exercise today by Patty Gasso, unsuccessful in her first try, as umpires walk back out.
After further review, the call on the field has changed. The batter has been hit by pitch. She will be awarded first base. Oklahoma will return the challenge.
So the challenge successful. Patty Gasso is able to keep it. And now the Sooners find themselves in a position trying to rally back from 6 runs here with their season on the line. And you see the leadership of Nadia Barbary, making sure everyone is on the same page, telling everybody to calm down. Again, when you have a seasoned veteran like Barbary helping to steady the ship and hopeful that it doesn't turn rocky. Again, you've got Delaney Everett, just given everything
Ice in the
that
veins.
she has to offer today. Agbayani, the 9-hole hitter, now stands in. Flied out both times up.
And the biggest test is in front of her, right? With 2 on and 1 out. Bottom of the order here with Agbayani, a stud at the plate, a lot of speed that rolls this lineup over. And then you face the 20 home run club. 20 plus home runs, 5 in a row.
And out number 2 is Agbayani, who has been hitless in this Super Regional. Well, the streak of 399 consecutive games without being shut out on the line. Alabama last did it in the Women's College World Series back in 2019. And now Kai Minor trying to extend the inning. Minor, who had a single back in the 3rd. She's been one of the hot bats throughout the postseason for the Sooners. One in there for a strike. 2 balls and a strike now to Kai Minor. Swing and a miss, the cut there. And a big moment here. Deuce on the jersey of Minor. 2 aboard. 2 out. The 2-2 count. The 2s have it. The pitch from Everett. On the ground. Handled. And that does it. History made in Norman. Mississippi State is headed to the Women's College World Series for the first time ever. A breakthrough moment for the Bulldogs.
Tiffany, I have goosebumps. Just this program, this moment for Mississippi State, but more so for Delaney Everett in the circle. Her first 7-inning complete game of her career and the biggest of her career. 3 hits against the toughest offense in the nation to punch their first ever ticket to the Women's College World Series.
An unbelievable feat for this Bulldog team. Sam Ricketts said, an underdog is still a dog. And the Mississippi State Bulldogs are moving on to Oklahoma City. Tip your cap to one of the great seasons we have seen from an OU offense. 52 wins, 10 losses overall. And Kendall Wells, 39 home runs, just getting started for the Sooner group. But Delaney Everett, Mississippi State, they deserve their shine and their time in the spotlight.
We heard it from head coach Sam Ricketts, what this moment felt like before Game 3. And there was one answer, convicted answer. There was a looseness, there was a freedom, there was a joy that this team had coming into Game 3, and she clocked it immediately.
And making the play, Zion Romero, and Delaney Everett celebrates afterward. Her teammates join her. And what a special moment. Having played here with Oklahoma, but never going to the Women's College World Series as a player with the Sooners. And now Samantha Ricketts does it against her alma mater with Mississippi State. They're gonna stick around, hang out in Oklahoma before making the trek over.
And that was a question we had asked their staff is, are you going back to Starkville or are you staying here? Well, they're staying here. They're here for the long haul.
And just moments ago, the wonderful embrace, the great respect. And Patty Gasso congratulating her former player and assistant. Sam Ricketts is because Patty Gasso helped to give her a wonderful opportunity. And now Mississippi State is moving on. The broccoli worked.
The power of the broccoli.